Welcome, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to guide you through this explainer today. We're diving deep into the intricate techniques and, honestly, the completely epic journey of Bharatnatyam. We're talking about an art form here that is so much more than just a dance. It is literally a living, breathing testament to human resilience. So we really need to start with this massive question, right? Because the history of this art form is just as dramatic as the dance itself. Think about it. How exactly does a tradition go from being isolated in ancient temple sanctuaries to hovering right on the absolute brink of total erasure, only to rise back up and become a global phenomenon? Well, here's our game plan for figuring that out. We'll kick things off with its origins and the eclipse, then dive into the rebellious revival, decode the name itself, explore the language of Abhinaya, and finally wrap up with the aesthetic and Arangetram. Let's get right into it. Section 1, Origins and the Eclipse. Let's wind the clock way back. To really grasp this, we have to look at a staggering 2,000-year arc. Its earliest precursors pop up in the ancient Natya Shastra text, somewhere between 500 BCE and 500 CE. For centuries, this dance, which was originally called Sadir, was a deeply sacred, exclusive practice kept inside Tamil Hindu temples. But then, fast forward to the turn of the 20th century and boom, we had a sudden, jarring eclipse, a 1910 colonial ban. Yet, amazingly, just a few decades later it gets revived and renamed, and by 1955 it's starring in state-sponsored festivals in a newly independent India. Talk about a comeback! Now, to understand that 1910 ban, we've got to look at the immense historical friction of the time. You essentially have two completely polarized viewpoints. On one side, the British colonial and missionary view totally condemned it. They looked at the temple dancers, the Devadasis, and saw evidence of a debased culture, essentially viewing the dance as just a front for prostitution. But on the flip side, the Indian nationalist view strongly pushed back against that imposed colonial morality. For them, reviving this dance wasn't just about art. It was a critical way to protect their traditional cultural heritage, reassert their national identity, and really fight for civil liberties. It was an intense ideological clash that almost wiped out 2 millennia of history. And that brings us to Section 2, the rebellious revival, the daring rescue mission of the dance. Okay, this is where the story takes a wildly unexpected cross-cultural turn. During this period of heavy stigma, there's a young Indian aristocrat named Rukmini Devi Arundale who is exploring the arts. And, get this, her first dance teacher was none other than the legendary Russian ballerina Anna Pavlova. As Dr. Shankar Menon noted, Pavlova saw Rukmini's incredible potential, taught her the ballet basics, but then actually urged her to pivot and look into her own rich Indian dance heritage instead. So fully inspired to explore her roots, Rukmini Devi takes a massive gamble. You have to remember, for a Brahmin woman at that time, associating with temple dancers was considered deeply scandalous. But she didn't care. She learned the dance anyway. And then in 1932, teaming up with E. Krishna Iyer, she proposed changing the dance's name from Sadir to Bharatnatyam at the Madras Music Academy. This wasn't just some casual rebrand. It was a highly calculated, rebellious strategy to sanitize the art form, democratize it, and demand the respect it needed to survive in the modern world. All right, so the dance is saved. It's got a new name. Section 3, decoding the name. Let's see what it actually means. The term Bharatam is actually a brilliant acronym. It perfectly marries 3 core artistic elements into one word. Check this out. Ba is for bhavam, which means feelings or emotion. Ra is for ragam, the melody. And ta is for talam, the rhythm. You tack on natyam, the Sanskrit word for dance, and you literally have a single compound word that means a performance harmonizing emotion, melody, and rhythm. How cool is that? Now, to physically pull this off, a Bharatanatyam dancer has to master 3 distinct categories of performance straight out of the ancient texts. First up is nritya. Think of this as pure, abstract, kinetic energy. It's fast, highly rhythmic, and all about the sheer beauty and speed of form. Next, you have nritya. This shifts gears, slowing things down to add deep expression. It's dance acting that silently communicates feelings and tells a story. And finally, natya. This is the dramatic play itself, where the dancer uses standardized body movements to actually portray different characters in a narrative. So you might be wondering, how exactly does the dancer tell these elaborate stories without saying a single word? Welcome to Section 4, the language of Abhinaya. There is this huge myth out there that Abhinaya is just about making really expressive faces. And I'm here to tell you it's absolutely not. The word literally translates to carrying the emotion to the spectator. It demands a complete, head-to-toe, full-body commitment. I mean, think about it. If your face is conveying deep sorrow, but your posture is rigid and completely disconnected, the performance just looks robotic, right? Every single movement has to echo that inner emotion. To achieve that level of full-body communication, dancers balance 4 vital pillars. Number 1 is Anjika, your physical body language and footwork. Number 2 is Vachika. Now, since the dancers are completely silent, this actually refers to the words and dialogues sung by the accompanying vocalists. Number 3 is Aharya, encompassing the visual environment, specifically the costumes and the jewelry. And finally, number 4, Sattvika. This is the authentic core inner emotion the dancer is feeling. You can't fake Sattvika. You literally have to feel it deeply to project it outwardly. If we zoom in on that Aharya pillar, the visual presentation, you can see it in the meticulously crafted, temple-inspired jewelry the dancers wear. It's incredibly precise. The Nidhi Chudi sits dead center on the hairline. Then you have the Surya and Chandra. The sun ornament absolutely must sit on the right side of the head, and the crescent moon on the left. No exceptions. And those Jumaki earrings? They're attached to a chain called a mattal that doesn't just hang there, it's pinned straight up into the hair. Every single piece is practically engineered and secured to withstand some seriously athletic dancing. Then, going back to the physical body language, the Angika pillar, the dancer relies heavily on mudras and bhava. Mudras are exact, highly specific hand shapes that function like a literal sign language. They can depict an animal, a concept, an action, you name it. But here's the catch. A mudra on its own is just a hand signal. It has to be married to bhava. Bhava is the facial expression and the micro-movements of the eyes that inject true emotional weight into that sign. Put them together and you've got a silent, stunningly articulate language. All right, let's pull all of these historical and technical threads together. Section 5, the aesthetic and Aranjitram. The absolute centerpiece, the true core of a performance, is called the Varnam. Think of it as an artistic marathon. A traditional Varnam can last anywhere from 30 minutes to a full hour. The solo dancer stays on stage the entire time, no costume changes, no breaks, seamlessly shifting between blindingly fast rhythmic footwork and deeply expressive storytelling. 1 minute they're depicting an epic, mythical battle, and the next they are perfectly matching their intricate steps to the melody of the musicians. It requires just a mind-blowing level of physical stamina and mental focus. And for anyone studying this art, the ultimate milestone is the Arangetram. This is their debut solo performance. It's the grand moment where everything we just talked about, the 2,000 years of history, the exact precision of the mudras, the heavy temple jewelry, and the absolute grueling stamina of the Varnam finally comes together on stage. While it officially marks the end of their basic formal training, in the dance community, it's really celebrated as day 1 of their lifelong artistic journey. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really think about. We've just explored a tradition that was actively suppressed, incredibly stigmatized, and hovered so close to being completely erased by a colonial ban. Yet, against all odds, through sheer rebellious passion and an absolutely uncompromising dedication to rhythm and emotion, it survived. Today, it stands as a massive, global celebration of the human spirit. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other ancient forms of expression are out there, just waiting to be rediscovered and brought back to life? Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and keep exploring.